So last week we looked at if statements, then we went on to look at what else? We also looked at conditional functions, right? Then we looked at a little bit about, we went through data validation as well, right? So if you can't remember or if you have a question, please let's ask. So when I move on, I'm certain that we are all on the same page. We didn't learn anything last week. We cannot remember anything we learned last week. We actually have a lot to cover, but for the sake of those who actually missed last week's class, because of the silence I'm getting, we'll quickly I'll quickly brush through. I'll try not to answer too many questions. I'll just quickly brush through so we can jump into what we have for today. Is that fine? All right. So last week we started with sum, basically how to add a range of numbers or okay, so can you see my screen? Is this better? All right, so last week we learned, we learned about the sum function, how to add two numbers together or basically a range of numbers together using the sum function. And I mentioned that when dealing with functions or when dealing with formulas, there's actually a syntax or an arrangement. It always starts with an equal to, then it's followed by the function name. In this case, sum is actually the function name used in adding numbers together. So equal to, then sum. And then the next is an open bracket. So this is the syntax for all functions. Equal to the function name, open bracket. Then you can have the argument or the information. So if you want to add two numbers, all you need to select those two numbers. So we want to add 50 and 20. What I do is to take my cursor to that cell, not to the edge, to the center, and let's click. While still holding it down, then I drag down. So I'm able to select these two numbers. Basically, I'm able to add my range. And then I close my brackets and enter. I can see that 50 plus 20 gives us 70. Gives us 70. And we've been able to add the two numbers together. If we want to add all the amounts, all we just need to do is to drag down everything. So we have this sheet, so let's just give it a try. So I'm dragging from D3 to D6. When I get to D6, I release. Then I close my bracket and I press enter. So we all have the sheet, so let us quickly give it a try. That's actually how we add numbers. Then also, I showed us a few shortcuts. One is using the auto sum. You'll find that under the editing group, where you have your home tab. Check the home tab, go to the editing group. You see the auto sum. Can you see the auto sum? I'm still not getting any response. All right. So if you click on the auto sum, it automatically detects the range of numbers you want to add, and basically to add all those numbers together. And then the last is another shortcut which I showed us, which is using the alt equal to. If you use alt, hold down alt, and you click on equal to, that's the shortcut for auto sum. So that's for adding a number or a range of numbers together. alt, and equal to. Alt plus equal to. And I guess we're actually tired, but if I don't get feedback, I won't know if you're following or if you're not following. Right? If you don't understand what I'm saying, please draw my attention to it so I know I can either rephrase my statement or I can find other ways to explain. And we already understand it, so that we can save time. We can still also mention it so that we can move on to other things, because we're going to be ending the class tomorrow. I need as much time to cover as much of the material in this short period of time. Yeah. So the next is average. Can I move on? So for average, it's just like the name. The function is equal to, so it's average. And to get the average is equal to then average, open bracket, equal to average, open bracket, then you select the range of numbers, you close your bracket, and you press your enter. So that's how that's how we get the average. And I mentioned that sometimes average could be called the mean of the number. Then also, I know last week we talked about median and mode. Who wants to remind me what is median? What do we mean by median? All right, thank you very much. Median, the middle number. What of mode? The one that appears most or is repeated the most, right? Thank you very much. So that's basically the median. And then we moved on to looking at mean and max. So in a range of numbers, you can get the minimum. I can also get the maximum number in that range of numbers. And the function basically is equal to mean. So mean is the function name for getting the minimum amount in the range of numbers, or minimum number in the range of numbers, while max gives you the maximum numbers in the range of numbers. So we can also try it in that document so as well. So it's equal to mean. So it's equal to mean. You select your range of numbers, close your bracket, and it will give you the mean. And then the same thing for max, equal to max, open bracket, you select the range of numbers. Okay, so for date and time, okay, so that gives you the minimum. Let's quickly try for max. You can see it. So equal to max, open brackets, you select your range, close brackets, close your bracket, click on equal, so what's and basically to give you your max. Looking at this range of numbers, you can easily tell that 50 is our maximum number or maximum value. So, and that gives us 50, right? So then we moved on to dates and also how to subtract two dates together to get difference. And I said to get the date in real time is equal to today, open and close brackets. That'll give you your dates in real time. Yeah. Then also we talked about time. So I think we also looked at time, getting the current time, which is equal to now. Open, close brackets, enter. That'll give you the time now. Yeah, then also we also looked at merging a text and a date together, right? So merging two two information when they're not of the same format. So we understand that the date, so this is like the text. So you can see current time in the text, and then this is a date function. So we also looked at merging text and time together, or merging text and date together. And to do that, do we still remember how to do this? Okay, so let's quickly do it together. So to do it basically is to select the time, then our ampersand for joining. And the next is we're putting a space between the text and also the time. So that's why I have this in double quotes. I have the space in double quotes. Then the next is the ampersand. Then we have the text function that allows us to convert from values to text. So I'll select the value, comma, and then I'll put the format. So the format is always in a double quote too as well. So you put double quotes, and then we can see if we want to appear hour, then minutes, then we have our AM. So that will be hours, column, minutes, and then AM. AM slash PM actually. Oh, sorry, I didn't put my double quotes back. So with this, you're able to merge you're able to merge in two different formats. If I'm too fast, please let me know so I can explain. So the reason, okay, all right. So I'm actually trying to be fast so I can move on to what we have for today because these are the things we learned last week. But let me just take my time for this. So let's try and merge. So see what happens. Remember when we're talking about joining text. Okay, now let's just join the first name and the last name together. So better explain some things. So last we looked at to join two texts together, we can use concatenate or we can use the ampersand. So using concatenate is equal to concatenate. That's the function name. We select the first name, comma, select the second name, close our bracket, and enter. And basically it merges two names together. That's fine. Do you want to try it? Should I hold on? Should I hold on? Can I move on? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let's give it a try. Okay, so that is concatenate. And I also explained, if you notice what happened, when we merge it together, there's no space between Nancy and Smith. Can we say it? Yes. So if we want to introduce a space, I mentioned that we use the double quotes to introduce a space. So we want to introduce a space between Nancy and Smith, which is and D3. So we have C3 comma, then we use the double quotes, space, double quotes, then a comma. And we're able to introduce a space between Nancy and Smith. Don't worry, I'm opening this. So this is what I just did. Open bracket, C3 comma, double quotes, space, double quotes, comma, D3. So this will work. I'm saying to go to a point soon and it's happening. Something you start doing it. That's the thing. But it's fine. So do most of it.
Please, can you rewrite the formula on how to get the time? I missed the particular one, so I'm trying to get it. Thank
All right, so I think I've given us enough time. Let's move on. So the next approach is equal to. So now once we use the ampersand, which is the and, what we call the and. C3 and now is shift 7. Shift 7 is and, what we call and, so it's called ampersand. Then we'll include a space, double quotes, space, double quotes, and D3. That is it. Then enter. So we're able to join two texts together as the first name and then the last name. So let me click on it so we can see. Are you set? So please, once you get it, kindly try and do and not the other one, the next row. Let's try the next row. Okay. So those online, please also give it a try, just as a refresher. While those here also trying to.
Now we can barely hear you online, sir. Hello, sir, are you there?
Yes, I said you guys should try attempt it. I'm giving you all time to attempt it. Those you have to also try it.
Okay, but before now, we can barely hear you. We have no audio at all.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Yes, I said I was not speaking before. What's that?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now. Thank you, sir.
Yes, I said I was not speaking. I'm giving everyone time to try it. That's why I muted. I was muted. So just kindly try it, attempt it as well. Once you're done, you can drop it in the chat so I can move on. I'm actually waiting for everyone to give it an attempt. Okay, so because of time, I'm going to take it again quickly. Okay, let's just follow step by step, and so we can understand. We can all understand. I'm going to start from joining text and numbers together. So I mentioned that when joining text or two texts together, we can use that two methods to doing it. One is concatenate, and the second is using the ampersand, which is like the AND function. So for the first one is using the function called concatenate. What you do is you start with an equal to, then next you type concatenate, which is concatenate. So that's the function for joining two texts together. So that is concatenate. Then you reference the cell that contains the first name. In our own case, that's C3. And then you put a comma. Then you reference the second cell that has the last name, which is D3. And then your close brackets and enter. So that's how you merge the names together. So please, let's give that a try. So when merging two names together, that's how you go about it. So the name of the sheet we're working with is, I think this is formula tutorial. Yeah, so the name of the sheet we're working with is formula tutorial. For those that's Chikodi. And then also I went on to say, if we notice, Nancy and Smith are merged together. If you want to include a space or introduce a space between Nancy and Smith, all you need to do is you put that space in double quotes. So that is going to be C3, comma, double quotes, your space, then you close the double quotes, comma, then you have your D3. So you're going to be having C3 space D3. And that's how you introduce your space. Once you click on enter, you see it's Nancy space Smith. And this is how you introduce the space, by putting the space in double quotes. You open and then you close. I hope that that clarifies it for those that are not very clear. I should come again. All right. So I said the function for joining two texts together is called concatenate. And to join the two texts together, you start with an equal to, then you type concatenate, open bracket, C3, so you reference the first cell or the first name. Then you put a comma which separates different arguments. So you have a comma, so C3, comma. Then I put a space. To introduce a space, you have to put it in strings or what we call double quotes. So double quotes, space, double quotes, then comma, then I referenced the last name before closing my bracket. And that is how we join two texts together. Enter. The other way is, which most likely we'll be using, is using the ampersand, which is the and. And to get that is shift 7. So it's equal to, remember you always start with an equal to, you just go straight to referencing the cell. So we want to merge the first name and then the last name. Equal to, you reference Nancy, and sorry. And then next we introduce a space. Remember how we introduce our space? By putting it in double quotes. So double quotes, space, double quotes. Sorry, double quotes. Another and, they reference D3. We're going to have Nancy and space and Smith. So that is equal to C3 and double quote space, double quote and D3. And with that, we are able to merge Nancy and Smith. Is that fine? All right, thank you very much. So I guess we can move on to the next thing. So remember how to flash fill. You can select both of them, double click on the fill handle, that's this small handle, and it will flash fill, it's a fill. So after joining text and numbers, I went on to mention that the function for getting today's date is called today. And to impute it is equal to, okay, we already have it here. Let me just delete what I have here. Equal to today, open bracket and close bracket. You're not referencing any cell. Equal to today, open bracket and close bracket, then enter. So with that, we're able to get today's date. So let's give us a second to give that a try. For those online, so you can also give it a try.
Hello, sir. My own time here is giving me both the time and date together. Sir,
Yeah, sorry, I can hear you.
I said I use the formula to get time, the equals to now open bracket and close bracket, but it's giving me both time and date at the same time.
Okay, yes, so that happens sometimes. Give me
Oh,
a second. Yeah.
oh, okay, sir.
Okay. Um, however, sorry, to answer your question, before we move on. So what is most likely happening? You want to change it to short dates. So just click on your date. So let me show you what's happening. It's just basically the format. So this is the format it's using currently. That's why it's showing. So I guess it's showing something like this, right? So all you might just want to do is just to change the format. So it shows only the date. So that should solve it. If your today is showing both date and time. Yeah. And then the same thing, so now also does the same thing. So you can do the same thing for now. Just change the format. So can we move on? All right, so for the current time, you can use now, open bracket, close bracket, enter. That'll give you the time now. Wow, time has actually gone. So that gives you the current time. Is that fine? So remember when we're talking about join text? So let's say we want to join today's date and this date. Let's say you want to have it in just one cell. You want to read today's date is in just one cell. And you just want to use the joining approach. How do you go about it? So let's see what happens when we do it normally, the way we learned today. So who wants to help me out with the concatenate? So how do we use concatenate? Can we call it out? Let me type it. So what's the syntax? What should I write? Tell me what to type.
Equals
What
to,
will I first put? Equal to, yeah.
equals to concatenate,
Concatenate, open bracket, yeah.
open bracket.
Sorry?
Yeah, that is C28.
C28,
Yeah,
comma,
comma. Then D28.
then D28,
Close your
then
bracket.
close my bracket. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Your bracket.
But can we see what it's showing?
Yes, sir.
So it's showing today that is 45,206. Is that today's date? Is that today's date? Someone said yes. All right. Okay, so obviously this is not today's date. So the reason why this is appearing, you often see something like this. You often see something like this error, when you start dealing with your data set. So what is happening is it basically did a conversion for you. So it's converting, it's reading it as a text. So it's reading that date as, is it text or number? As a number. Yeah, as a number. So that's why it converted it to 45206. I don't know how it usually gets this number. I'm sure it did some calculations. But most of this is what happens. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so thank you. So someone should help me try. Let's try dividing. Let's do 10 divided by. I'm really curious to how we usually get this number. So 10 divided by 7 divided by 2023. Okay, does it still give you that? Sorry? Okay, converted it to seconds. Date to seconds. That's the date here. So most times, basically, this is just a formatting error. So in order to avoid this error, or in order to maintain the format, that's why we introduce another function called the text function, which converts from value to text so it appears in that same format. Let me explain how that works. Sorry, for those online, just 1 second. All right, so we're back. Okay, so in order to avoid this error, we use the text. So now let's use So concatenate, right? C23, C28, sorry, comma. We should use our space, comma. Have you gone up to this point? Anyone confused? Up to this point, those online, are we confused? Are we good to go? Those online, are we good to go up to this point? All right, so I guess we're good to go. Thank you. Those in class, are we good to go? Can I go on? Do you understand up to this point? Equal to concatenate, open bracket, C28. Do you understand up to this point? All right, so I'm moving on now. So now the issue. Okay, that's a question. Yeah. How I got what? Current affairs. Okay, well, the current time. No, it's equal to now. Equal to now. Equal to NOW. Open bracket, close bracket. Enter. Thank you. All right, so let's move on. So the issue we're having is this format. In order to maintain this format, we're going to use the text function, which is text, open brackets. What's our value? This is what we want to convert. Comma. What's the format? So what's the format? You want to help me out. Which one comes first? Is it month or day? It's text the month or day. The month. Good. Month. Thank you very much. That is October, right? All right. So that is going to be MM. Then forward slash. I'm just repeating the same thing. MM forward slash. What comes next? A. Thank you. DD forward slash. What comes next? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. That will become Y. My double quotes first before I close my brackets. Any questions so far? No. Do we understand? Yes. Can I move on? Yes. So what's the question? It's still on the screen. So what's the question? So let's find out if it's a work. People are so confident that it's a work. But did it work? So now when I see the difference, we now understand why I have to introduce the text function. But let me just click on it so we can try it. Any questions? Okay. Yes, so the first bracket is in the text, the second bracket is for. Okay.
It has worked, sir. Confirmed.
Okay, so that is using the concatenate, and then you can also use the ampersand the same way. C28 and like space, and then you have the text function, value, comma, mm/dd/YYY, double quotes, close brackets, enter. And to give you the same, exactly the same thing. So whichever is convenient for you, you can use in merging your text and numbers together. So I know also I introduced the concept of text. Let me just talk a bit about the text function. So the text function is actually quite interesting because you can also use it to convert. So I can convert this. So 7th of October 2023 was on what day? Falls on the Saturday, right? 5th of October 2023 falls on what day? What was first? Sunday. Second. So with okay, what of 7th of October 1995 falls on what day? How do you know? So basically with the text function, you can actually determine what day a particular date falls under. So all you just do is the same thing, equal to text, open bracket, select the day, comma, under the format text, all you just need to put or indicate is, that's we're looking for what? The day, right? So all you just need to indicate is the day. And that will be DDD. But we're having DDD 4 times, so we want it to appear in full. Then double quote and close your bracket, enter. So you can see it falls on a Saturday. Is that fine? I should come again. So I said, in order to determine the day a particular date falls under, you can use the text function to determine the particular day text, equal to text, the particular date falls. Yeah. So you can actually try for your birthday. You want to find out what day your mom gave birth to you. You won't be able to get the time, but you can get the day. So to equal to text, open brackets, then you have the date, comma, double quotes, DDD, 4 times, and then double quotes. If I want it abbreviated, all I need to do is to reduce the number of D. If I only want SAT, all I need to do is remove 1 D, and I'll have my SAT abbreviated. So that is if you want the day abbreviated. Yeah. But if you want only the day, let's say you want just 07, all you need to do is to make it 2, and then you have your 07. Is that fine? It's not fine. It's not working. Are you sure? Did you follow? Not online. Are you guys following?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And also, it's the same thing. You can also get the form. You can do that for the month. So try the month. So you can try. You can also try for the month. So you don't have it. And also the same thing for the year. So having an element, so again, I have to extract the year from the date. We know how to do it. They're giving, they have a cell that has the particular transaction code. So they're able to extract the year from the date for the moment. So what we start doing is what the best one do. Can I move on now? Can I move on? We have a lot to do. We have a lot to do. So can I move on? All right, so you're able to determine the day a particular event happens. So that's all about the text function and also joining text and numbers together. So the next we'll be looking at, or the other thing we looked at last week as well, was the if statement. So for the if statements, I mentioned that the if statement allows you to carry out logical comparison. So when I say logical comparison, it means there can be only a specific set of response, which means either a true or a false. Are you a boy or a girl? Then in Nigeria, it can either be a true or a false, right? Then in the US, we know that the options are more. Exactly. So when you're dealing with if statements, basically you're looking at logical comparison where you can have only two. It can either be a true or a false. The response can either be a true or a false, right? Yes. So are you a boy or a girl? Maybe. Are you a boy? Are you a boy? Son is confused. All right, so exactly. So it can either be a boy or a girl, right? It can either be male or female, right? Right? Yeah. It can either be tall or down to earth, right? Okay, there's also average, right? Exactly. So when you're dealing with logical comparison, yeah, when you're dealing with logical comparison, basically you use the if statements. But there are actually some logical operators that you need to familiarize yourself with. One of them is, one is greater than. Which other one again? Less than. Which other one? Equal to. What else? Sorry, equal to. Right? Which other one? What is not equal to? Not equal to. Sorry? Greater than or equal to. Right? Thank you very much. Less than or equal to. So please, let's take note of this. When dealing with logical comparison, we're going to be dealing with this comparison. The first is greater than. The second is less than. Then next you have equal to. Then next you have not equal to. Then we have greater than or equal to. Then we have less than or equal to. So these are basically the logical operators that we'll be dealing with. Yeah, when carrying out a comparison. So now let's try something. So now, what can we see here? This apple, right? Can we see apple? So now what we want to do is, we want to write a statement telling Excel that if this is Apple, then let the amount be 20. If it's not Apple, then it should be 0. Right? So can have only two outcomes. If it's Apple or if it's not Apple. So if it's Apple, it should carry out a particular function or operation. If it's not Apple, it should carry out another operation. So let's give that a try. So I'm going to say equal to, like all functions. So we're starting with equal to. So remember what we're trying to do, we're writing a statement telling Excel that if the information in C9 is Apple, then we should put the amount as 50. But if the information in C9 is not Apple, then we should put the amount as 0. Are we clear? All right, so let's give that a try. So we're going to start with equal to. Next is if, which is the function name. Then next we have open brackets. Let's quickly type that so we can take it step by step. Can I move on? Can I move on? Okay, so the first, you can see down, so when we look at, when we look below, we see like a selection box. So Excel does this a lot where you're dealing with the function. So the first is logical test. So the logical test basically is the comparison. So now we're saying if C3, C9 is equal to what? Apples, right? So let's type apples. We'll put it in double quotes. If C9 is equal to apple. No, that's apple. Yeah. For comparison, C9 and apple. So please those online, we found the apple, we send it to us. We're looking for the apple. I'm looking for the apple. So those online, I hope we are following. If you have any question, please
Yes, sir.
ask.
Yes, sir. We are following.
All right, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You're welcome.
So next is, remember we separate each argument by a comma. So we're going to put a comma. Then the next is asking us value if true. So what should happen if it's true? What do we agree should happen? What should the amount be? 50. So I'm going to put it in double quote, 50. Double quote, 50, and double quote. So I want to show 50. I have to finish. Once I start putting the report, like the function, I can't do it. I have to finish typing. So the next will be a comma, double quotes, and then close brackets. So what is it going to show? What does it show?
It shows 50.
Okay. Thank you very much. So it shows 50. Why? Because it's what? It's true. Logical comparison is what? Is true. So now let's see what happens if I put an S. What does it show? 0. Because now it's what? False, right? Do you understand? Do you understand?
Hello, sir.
Hello? Yeah.
Okay, sir. If I should change that 50 there in that 50 to true, will it show to like true or false or like yes or no?
I didn't get that.
Oh, in the if statement here. So if I should edit that if the if statement and I remove that 50 and I put either yes or no or
To show
yes or
yes.
true. Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, okay. I just did that now. Okay. Thank you, sir.
To what? Show yes.
Yeah, okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Anything you put in the double quote will appear. Anything. You want to put your name, put your name. Just put anything you want to put in that double quote. Sorry? No. So just keep playing around with it. Give it a try. Let me flexible. So let's move on because of time. So that's for if statements. So we're moving on to what we actually have. So we're moving on to what we actually have for today. We're going to be looking at VLOOKUP and also index match. We're going to be looking at VLOOKUP and index match. So let's open our data modeling sheet. So let's open the data modeling sheet or document, the one I sent to the group. Sorry? No, not the one I sent today, data modeling. I sent it last week. The one I sent today, I doubt you will touch it. Try my best to see if I touch it. That's pivot table. If plan was to end with pivot table today, I doubt you will have enough time because it's already passed through. So let's open the let's open data modeling. So we're quickly going to touch on data modeling. Then after this, we'll move on to data cleaning. But better still, sorry, let's start with data cleaning. Let's end with data modeling because I want to give us some assignments with data modeling. Sorry, with data modeling. So let's start with data cleaning. So those online, so please let's open data cleaning. Yeah, data cleansing. So let's open data cleansing. Then we'll come back to data modeling, which is VLOOKUP. Because I have some assignments I would like to do this. Lots of assignments. People are complaining I'm not giving assignments. Let's change. Okay, are you there now? Are you there? All right. So, while working with your data, there are a few things. One of the major things you need to do once you get your data set is cleansing or cleaning up your data. So hopefully by tomorrow, we'll see an actual data set that will actually analyze and we'll see the different steps, how to start analyzing the data all the way till you're able to develop your visualization. Yeah, so one of the first things you want to do when you get your data set is to clean your data. So what does it mean to clean your data? To clean your data actually means to format your data in a way that you can easily carry out your analysis. That's what it means to clean your data. So one of the things we're doing today is we're looking at the different errors that usually your data set will come with that you need to correct. So one of the errors you might see when dealing with your data set is having non-printable values of information or values, let me put it like that. So they're actually called non-printable values. Non-printable. So can we see something like this box? Can we see something like this? Yes. So this often happens when you're converting from one format to another format. That's when sometimes this error appears. So you often see this kind of error where you're trying to convert. So let's say maybe a document was sent to you in a different format. It could be CSV, or maybe you downloaded your file from maybe a database, right? So during the conversion, sometimes this error actually happens. So in order to remove
Hello, sir. The line
Yes.
is breaking. Please, I
Okay,
can't
so-
hear you clearly.
So in order to remove this non-printable values, you use the function called clean. There's a function called clean that helps you to remove these non-printable values or information from your sheet. So let's give it a try. So it's almost the same format we'll be following for our different functions. So we start with the equal to, then clean. Maybe where we have marking, clean. And then you reference, sorry, you reference the cell and you click on enter. And you can see that you can take it off. So what the clean function does is it removes non-printable values, and then you can drag down. You can see that it's taking off that box that we saw initially. That's pretty simple and straightforward. Was there any question? Any question? Huh?
Sir, can you please come again? I don't understand.
So, can you see this symbol to your left beside? Can you see it? Yes. So what is this word? What's this letter? Before the P, what's the letter before the P? I. Is it I? Is that I? It's like a symbol, right? Yes, that's what we call non-printable characters. Actually, non-printable characters. They're actually called non-printable characters, right? So they usually appear when you're converting. So when you want to remove non-printable characters, something like this, there are symbols, right? Use the clean function to remove it. That's what I mean. So use the clean function to remove the non-printable characters. In this case, non-printable character is this box. Can we all see the box? I know you can also go there and click on delete. But by having to go there and delete, click on delete for all of them. So that's why you have a function that actually helps you to remove the non-printable characters. And to do it, you have to do it in a different cell. So it's equal to clean. You select, enter. Enter. So do you understand? Do you understand the concept of the clean? The clean function. So basically it removes non-printable characters or what you might call symbols. Yeah, non-printable, that's what we call it. Or you can put symbols. We now understand. Do you understand? Okay. So there's one down. So see what happens when you have non-printable characters. When you have non-printable characters, basically it prevents you from carrying out certain operations. For example, you can't add these numbers together. You can't add them together. Why? Because of this, the box that separates. Yeah. So most likely when you was converting, you wanted to convert a comma, most likely it was a comma, but when Excel was doing the conversion, it interpreted it as something else. That's why you're having this. Possible, it maybe you're converting from a different database, maybe from an SQL file or something. I don't know. I don't even know where this is. But basically the conversion, yeah, that's where Excel is interpreted what we saw or what the actual symbol that was there. So in this case, it's the same thing, equal to clean. You select, so it also works for numbers. And then to remove it. Is that fine? Can we move on? So next we have the trim function. Oh, okay, nice question. So he asked the question, he said, what happens if we want now to replace the information in column C with the information we have in column B? So what you do is you copy and paste by value. So you select everything, Control C, copy, then you paste as values. You go to your left, right click, and you paste as values. That's basically how you replace it. And it works the same thing for the product as well. Oh, and then the shortcut to select everything is Control Shift and down. For those. Then you paste as values. So you paste as values. Right, right click the paste information I have the 1, 2, 3. That's the paste as values. Is that fine? All right. So next, we're moving on to trim. So the trim function is a function that removes excess space. So what the trim function does is it removes excess space from a cell. So any excess space you have with the trim function, it removes the excess space. Can we see this? Can we see this? Can we see this? Yes, sir. So the trim function removes excess space. So you can see that between parent and 20 mg, you can see some space, right? Can we see it? Same thing with this. You can see that there's something wrong with the format. So you can use the trim function to remove the excess space. So that is equal to trim, open brackets, then select and close your bracket, enter. And you can see that it has removed all the excess space. And we now have it in a better and uniform format. this fine? Is this fine?
Sir, please come again.
So I said the train function. The train function is a function that removes excess space. What it does is remove excess space so that it actually has a single space. So the formula and the function basically is equal to train, and then you select or you reference the cell. So we can see that this first, so the second one, target, you can see that there is a space between target and total entry. To remove that excess space, the train can remove this excess space. That's fine. I think it's time to try it. That's fine. Can I move on? These are pieces, right? So the next we'll be looking at is, so those are my any question. Moving on. So the next is the value function. So the value function is a function that converts from text to value.
Sir, we can
can see that-
barely hear you. Your voice is breaking.
Is it the same for everybody? Maybe it's the network. Sorry about that. Okay, so the next we're looking at is the value function. So the value function converts from text to value. So can you remember what something I mentioned in the first class when how to identify text and values? Do you remember? Using the alignment. Do you remember? If it aligns to the left, then it's most likely a what?
Hello, sir.
Left.
I'm not following. No, the network is bad. I don't know if it's from my end or yours.
I'm not sure what. Sorry about the network. Sorry. So if it aligns to the left, then it is most likely a what? Text or value. And then you can just quickly type it. Just type a text on your system and see where it aligns to. Just quickly try it. So if it aligns to the left, then it's most likely a what? Thank you. Then right is what? Thank you. So you can quickly tell if Excel is storing that information as a text or viewing that information as a text or a value by the alignment. So looking at what we have on the screen. So let's check. Let's
Hello,
look at the
sir.
documents.
Please, can you log out and log in back? Let's see if it will be better. Thank you.
All right. So is it the same thing for everyone? Oh, it's actually the same thing for most people. All right. 1 second.